Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. We are having some sunshine finally here in Utah. I think it's going to get up to 70 today, and I think we're going to get up to the 80s by Friday, so I'm super excited. We've just had so much snow here this spring, which is good for us because this really is desert land here in the valley, and our lakes have been really low, and so all of the rain and all of the snow in the mountains hopefully is going to remedy a lot of that. So anyway, nice sunny day, and I was so sad because last night I had to wash my hair, and you guys saw my post about seeing Eliza at the Life Spa, and just what a complete body, mind, and soul experience that was for me. So nurturing, you know, having her use the aromatherapy and massage my scalp, and just our conversation just really nurturing me. And you know, I was really due a change with my hair anyway. I was just stuck in a rut. So yeah, I had to wash it last night because I worked out, and you know, my hair was really sweaty, but I think I did pretty good today. So I'm probably not going to be blowing it out every day. Just probably going to let it be. My hair's got a lot of curl in it, but yeah, I'm having fun with it. So anyway, if you're stuck in a rut with your hair, pamper yourself. Go to a nice salon and, you know, do something that feels good to you. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about thoughts on your purpose. Hi, Sissy. Thanks for joining, Charlene. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It feels really good. So anyway, so thoughts about our life purpose. And what I wanted to start with was, you know, we have so many labels for ourselves. And, you know, I can remember periods in my life of short periods of unemployment, and just feeling like I really didn't even know who I was. You know, it's such a huge part of our identity. And, you know, my partner went through this, let's see, when did it happen? I want to say right around the holidays, and it was for several months. You know, he was unemployed, and, you know, the depression, and just, you know, he really went through a tough time. Yes, I'm getting skinny. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And we are sugar-free up in this house. It is so cool. My keto ice cream last night, oh my gosh. I could only have about a half a cup. It was so rich and just so filling and such a treat. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really feeling good. Yeah, so, you know, when we lose our job, or, you know, like I said, it's such a huge part of our identity, and we think that's our purpose. You know, we're an employee. It's a label that we attach so much to. Some other labels are, I'm going to use a lot of personal examples here, and I just used one for my partner. But, you know, being a mother, being a parent is a huge label. It's a huge part of how we define ourselves and how we kind of measure our self-worth, you know. And so then if something happens between us and our children, and it doesn't matter what age, we take it so personal. You know, we take it so personal because that's such a huge part of our identity. So employer, parent, partner, you know, what happens when things aren't perfect between you and your partner? Again, it's such a huge part of, for me, for my identity. You know, I have a lot of old beliefs from watching my mother, from seeing the kind of wife that she was and the things that she did, and I do so much the same. You know, there's certain things that, well, actually, my partner is happy to do anything I need help with because we both work a lot of hours, and we have to be a team, you know, and I'm really grateful for that. But there's a lot of things, and I've talked to him about it. I've had to come clean. There's a lot of things I will not let him do because I need that validation. that's how I identify as a partner. So there's certain things that I'm like, no, I got this. Mainly cooking, because my mom cooked. My mom cooked every meal. We didn't have boxed cereal. We didn't have Pop-Tarts. My mom cooked everything. She cooked all of the treats, all of the cookies, all of the pies. Everything was from scratch. And cleaning. You know, us kids, we did a lot of cleaning, but it wasn't until, and Dad, I'm sorry if this isn't accurate. This is just what I remember. You know, my mom did the laundry. My mom did the ironing. Us kids did laundry and ironing, but it wasn't like my dad's job. So I'm just identifying a lot of, you know, what my mother did with the kind of woman that I am. And, you know, noticing that if my partner does too much, I feel like, okay, well, what about me? I need to do this so I can, you know, feel like I'm a good girlfriend anyway. So just some things to think about. So do you realize that, you know, children, and until we start projecting our expectations and the other things that we do to our children, until that happens, children, they're not worried about their purpose. They are simply living life. They are simply enjoying life. They are simply having fun. You know, every moment they are in the moment. They're not sitting around worrying about something that's going to happen or something that did happen, for the most part. Generally, you know, children are able to just live in the moment and have that joy. They're not worried about these labels. They're not, hopefully, they're not thinking about, okay, well, I'm a child and my job is to validate my mother, or my job is to validate my father, validate my teacher. I'm sure a lot of that happens. I mean, I can remember that, you know, in my childhood, you know, wanting to be a good enough kid, wanting, you know, to get it right, and you know, the expectations. But what I'm trying to say is that's not a natural state of a child. You know, for a baby, babies and toddlers, they make no apology for their needs. In fact, they demand those needs get met. And so, yeah, so your purpose. So think about that. Do you realize that your purpose on this planet is simply to have joy? It's simply to have joy. It's simply to be happy. That is your purpose. I mean, everything is temporary here. You know, you're not going to be, when you leave this bodysuit, you're not taking your job with you. You're not taking those labels with you. And so, you know, being able to identify the difference between these different hats that we wear in our life and our true life purpose is a really important part of our healing. You know, we've been talking about our thoughts and our emotions, and I feel like it's really important to entertain that place, that unchanging place of, you were just created to have joy, to have this life experience, to have growth, to connect back to source, back to God, back to spirit, whatever you call it, back to the goddess, back to, you know, whatever your spiritual path is. And that can really keep you centered. That can allow you also to have more of an ebb and flow with the material things, the things that happen here on the material and physical level, realizing your true purpose. Now, there's a difference between your purpose and your path. And so I wanted to kind of shift to your path, your path for your life, and realize that your path changes. I mean, I feel like I've reinvented myself as far as my life path about every 10 years. And I'm okay with that because it's provided a lot of different experiences for me. I realize that I'm hunching, sorry. And it's created a lot of different experiences for me, and it's contributed to my growth, and it's brought me to the place that I am now. And with those experiences, I feel like I'm better able to serve. I feel like I'm better able to connect with people. And what is life for anyway? But to experience a lot of different things and grow. So, you know, I think there's an old school mentality where, you know, it was really important if you worked the same job for 25 years and then retired, and then hopefully your retirement would be able to support you. Well, that's not the case now. Good morning, Lila. And so I don't consider it to be any type of failure that I've had a lot of different careers, and nobody is you know, giving me some kind of cash bonus or some kind of trophy for withstanding, you know, a certain position with a certain company for 25 years. This is your life. The only person that you're answering to is yourself. And so, yeah, so your life path. So when you're thinking about your life path and you're really ready to live your best life, some of the things that can help you establish a knowing, you know, deep within your soul, what is my life path, is what makes you feel alive. What makes you feel alive? For some people, it's cooking delicious food. One of my coworkers, and she's really young, she is the most amazing cook, and she was taught by her mother. And when I talked to her about, you know, we don't have she's from a different country, we don't have good food from your country here in Salt Lake. Can you even imagine if you just started out catering for some events? And it grew, people, you know, word of mouth, and then eventually you've got your own restaurant. And I can feel her energy, and I can see her start to smile because that makes her feel alive, you know. But then I can also sometimes see her shift to, well, but you know, there's too many ifs, and I'm just going to stay in this safe place and be underpaid. But I continue to kind of nurture that seed in her. So think about what makes you feel alive. You know, Eliza at the Life Spa, that's a perfect example. You know what? She didn't just give me a haircut. We had a magical exchange. She is a being of light. She's tapped into that. It was a two-way conversation. It was very nurturing. Like I said, it was more than just a haircut. She's an artist. She also teaches at a school, and she's implementing that into her teaching. You know, talking to people about how to drop off other people's energy, how to not take that home, because anytime you're in a field of serving, you have to learn how to ground. There's a lot of self-care involved. See, that's what I'm talking about, Charlene. So helping homeless people be self-sufficient, providing them that hope. Because as a case manager, I learned that, you know, we have this get a job mentality for homeless people, and that's not even what it's about. It's a combination of a lot of factors. People have been, you know, have lost everything, and now they're in a place and there's just nowhere to go. They don't have the resources. It can be a combination of addiction and mental illness. I mean, there's just so many factors. So it does make us feel alive when we connect. It really does. When you're defining your life path, think about what's bigger than you. And it doesn't matter if you're a type A personality or an extreme introvert. There are people that are introverts that still serve their community, that still make the world a better place. My son's boyfriend does web support and tech support for the University of Utah. It's one of the best schools in the country. I get to meet him Saturday. I'm really excited. I'm going to make lunch for Jake and his boyfriend. But anyway, he's not a people person, Jake told me. It doesn't matter. You know, you're doing something to make the world a better place. Why? Because you are here for a reason. The world would not be complete without you. Do you realize that? So what's bigger than you? And that can help you define your path. And also, think about ways that you can implement your gifts into serving others. You know, we've talked about people that are great cooks. You know, I have a Wakaya sister that does, I'm trying to remember the name of that type of exercise. Anyway, she does these incredible classes, and she's on her local news station, and she does private classes, and just watching her videos. I'm talking about Jackie, you guys. I can't remember what that exercise is called. But anyway, I watch her videos and I can feel her energy. I can feel her spirit. So it doesn't matter if you have a garden at home and you're sharing produce with your neighbors and maybe asking them to pay it forward and share with their neighbors. It really doesn't matter what it is that makes you feel alive, because that's personal. That's for you. But identify what makes you feel alive and see if you can implement that into your path, your life path. Because when we're doing things that don't nurture us and feed us, then it becomes the daily grind. Then it becomes, I'm just trying to get through the day. Then it becomes, you know, I don't even, if I die tomorrow, that's great. Because, and I know people that feel that way, and it's because they haven't tapped into what makes them feel alive. You know, they're just paying the bills. And if you can, I don't care if you're a barista, I don't care if you're a dishwasher, if you can do your job with that in mind, that every person you talk to that day, you're touching a life. You know, every encounter is a chance to help someone feel better. I have a position right now that I feel very valued in at my full-time job, but it's because I value myself. It's not from any external appreciation. It's not from ever being told, so glad you're here, appreciate your hard work, you're doing a great job. And I had to make that decision that I was going to give that to myself, because I know that those things are true. And I know that a lot of my clients stay because I take good care of them. You know, so it's important to find a way to validate yourself, to let yourself know, look, I have an opportunity every day to make the world a better place. And that's another reason why I'm so grateful for Wakaya Perfection and being a part of the Wakaya family, is because we support each other, we love on each other so hard, and we nurture each other and encourage each other and celebrate each other's success and motivate each other to push harder and reach our goals. And it's just affected every area of my life. So much personal development, and knowing that other people are doing it along with you, and knowing that their struggles are so similar to yours. I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine doing life any other way. So this is a little shorter of a class today, but I'm really hoping that you'll kind of look at that as two separate things. Your purpose, which is simply just to have joy, just to enjoy your life, and your life path. Two totally separate things. And really look at you know, what are you waiting for? Really look at, why am I putting this off as far as my life path? Because you can start implementing that into your life right now. And I'm doing that. You know, I'm working a full-time job, and I'm also involved in lots of other different things, and we all have the same amount of hours in the day. And you know, when it's something that you know is going to create more joy for you, you make the time for it. We all make the time for things that are important to us. I think I've mentioned to you guys before, Michael and I are in this little one-bedroom apartment. We just renewed our lease for another year, and then we're planning to get into a home. Well, we don't even have a TV. And we haven't had a TV for, I personally have not had a TV for about 5 years. And I cannot tell you how much has changed my life. I mean, I do so much reading and journaling, and we play music and we talk, you know. And I was talking to Michael 2 nights ago, and I'm like, so, you know, when we get our home, and I'm letting him know, you know, I'm creating this picture in my mind and talking to him about it, because we do that. We want to talk about things that we want to manifest. It's important for all of us to do that. And I'm explaining the yard and the garden and my dog and, you know, my office for Wakaya and for my life coaching and this and that, and being able to have opportunity meetings. And I said, you know, I think we're going to need a TV, because I want to be able to have access to the internet so I can do PowerPoint slide presentations and whatnot. And he was like, we don't need a TV. I don't want a TV. And I think it's because, well, I know he's told me that he was so addicted to watching so much TV in previous relationships, and it really damaged those relationships, you know, watching hours and hours of sports and whatnot. But, you know, I think it's been long enough, we'll be able to have a good handle on it. And that's what I told him. I said, well, you know, at some point in your life, it's okay, Michael, to watch, you know, a football game, or during football season, watch every game. You know, I think we've both determined that we don't want it to control our lives, and we're both not interested in all of the negative energy of the news, and we don't really care about what celebrity's doing what, and it's just we value our time, and we want our time to be good quality time. So anyway, if there's anything that I can do to help anyone determine their life path, you know, message me, contact me in person. I also wanted to say that I took some classes in college, and I know that you can access them online. And they are a type of personality test, but they also help you determine some different career fields that kind of match your strengths. And I can't remember what they're called. So if somebody knows what I'm talking about, Lila, you're so smart. Well, Charlene, you're so smart too. You guys, if you know what I'm talking about, maybe put those in the comments. I want to say Myers-Briggs is what they're called, but it's been quite a while. But anyway, that really helped me kind of determine, you know, an employment field that I wanted to go into. So that's another idea. But mainly just look at what makes you feel alive. What are your gifts? Because you know your gifts better than anyone else. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Remember, your purpose, your life purpose, it has nothing to do with any labels. It has nothing to do with these different hats you wear. Your life purpose is simply to be happy. Nothing is more important than that you feel good. Nothing is more important than that you feel good, because when you feel good, from there you create. That's where you want to create from. Anyway, have a great day, you guys. We'll talk soon.